Hello, listeners. This is Kat, and welcome back to Put Your Hands Up Podfics. This will be the continuation and second part to Intrusive Thoughts. Shota realized very quickly that something was wrong. His morning hadn't been anything out of the ordinary. Hizashi had fussed over him all night, and Shota had to remind the man that he was an underground hero, and hostage situations are unfortunately something that he is all too familiar with as a result. His husband knew better, though. He could tell that Shota was shaken by the ordeal. It was hard not to be. He became a teacher so that he could protect kids and teach them how to protect themselves. After Oboro, after seeing just how many pro heroes get themselves killed within a year of graduation, he knew hero hopefuls had to learn the reality of their chosen careers and the dangers that come with, instead of facing that disillusionment after it was already too late. He became a teacher to protect kids, but with this class, it's been failure after failure. And Midoriya blamed himself for not being strong enough to fight back, as though he wasn't still a kid who shouldn't need to fight back, and should be protected instead. He'd have to check up on him again today. He should talk to Nezu, and set up mandatory sessions with Hound Dog for his class. He probably should have done this after the events at the USJ. He sighed and started heading to class. They were all in their seats and quiet when he arrived, and he grinned. Looked like his students were learning. "You noticed right away when I arrived," Shota said from the doorway, inching his way towards the front in his yellow sleeping bag. His students didn't even react at the sight anymore. Good. He glanced at Midoriya and felt a swell of embarrassment wash over him. He resisted the impulse to frown. Why would Shota feel embarrassed? "No announcements today," Shota said, staring blankly at his class. "Do what you want, I don't care. Just be quiet." He found a comfy spot on the floor, then muttered, "I'm taking a nap." Predictably, Ashido and Hagakure started chatting immediately, and he heard a few other quiet discussions throughout the room. "I can't believe I was so weak. Sensei is probably so disappointed in me." That was... what? Useless. It's my fault Sensei couldn't do anything. Shota frowned, peeking an eye open to spot his problem child staring intently at his desk. He's assaulted with memories of last night, Midoriya breaking down, and his voice through his head. Fuck, why couldn't I do anything? Shota remembered the cashier, and remembered her panic as she clutched onto him and his student. He was realizing very quickly what might have happened here. "Problem child, can you hear me?" There's no reaction, no response or pause or any deviation in Midoriya's thinking. The quirk must be one way, then. Either that or he's too wrapped up in his thoughts that Shota's own go unnoticed. Midoriya's self-deprecating thoughts repeated over and over, and it hurts to hear his student think so badly about himself. Just as homeroom ended, he asked Midoriya to stay behind. "Hey," he started. The kid avoided his eyes. "How are you feeling today?" Fine, Sensei," Midoriya responded. He could feel Midoriya's embarrassment through the link as the kid remembered breaking down the night before. Shota frowned. He knew it was hard for teenagers to open up, and he should respect Midoriya's decision if he doesn't want to talk about it. He could keep the effects of this quirk to himself and ignore whatever he might overhear, but that felt wrong. It was an invasion of privacy, regardless of the fact that Shota was an unwilling participant in it all. The kid should know. "I think the cashier at the store might have used her quirk on us yesterday," Shota started. He saw images of himself calming the woman from Midoriya's perspective, and her subsequently reaching for his student's hand. "Yeah, I think that's when she used it." Confusion flooded through their link, followed quickly by panic. Midoriya paled. "Wait, so can you—" His lips hadn't moved, but Shota heard it regardless. "Yeah, kid, I can." Shit, fuck, I can't. This is bad. Fuck, Shota snorted at the string of swears his problem child would never say out loud. But his student started spiraling. "This is bad. This is so fucking bad. I can't. Stop it. Don't think about it." His kid tugged at his hair, breathing frantically. "Don't think about it. Think about the quirk. Focus. Focus. How does it work? How will it last? Stop it. Don't—" "Izuku." Midoriya's head snapped up. His train of thought interrupted. He's about to tell him that it's okay, that he won't judge him for his thoughts or secrets. But Izuku's mind kept repeating quirk, quirk, just focus on the quirk, that he couldn't help but oblige him. "From what I can tell, it only goes one way. I first noticed during homeroom," Shota started, feeling him relax a bit through the link. "But I don't believe its activation was delayed. After she used her quirk on us, I had thought you were talking. But looking back, I think I was already hearing your thoughts. But like I said, I only noticed during homeroom. Logically, at a certain distance, the quirk's effect must wear off. There's a proximity requirement for it to remain active." Relief flooded in from Midoriya. Good, just need to stay away. Not like that. Sorry, Sensei. Just don't think about it. Stop it. Focus. Quirk. "It's fine. You're entitled to your secrets." Although the way he was reacting was concerning. He hoped it wasn't anything dangerous or anything he should know. And more along the lines of a teenager being embarrassed because they're a teenager and everything is embarrassing to them. "You have math and English before I have you in my class for ethics before lunch. I'll stop by the station and track down more information about the quirk. Okay?" Midoriya nodded, as more of his thoughts came through. "Just need to not think about it during ethics. Don't think about it. He wouldn't. No, stop it. Stop. Quirk. Think about the quirk. Don't think about it. Quirk. Shota sighed. "Kid, whatever it is, you know I'm here for you, right?" Fuck. Shit. Don't. Dad's too nice. He shouldn't. Don't. Midoriya turned a deep shade of red as his thoughts switched gears. "Oh my god, that's so embarrassing. I can't believe you heard that. I'm sorry, Sensei. I didn't mean to." Shota felt a surge of fondness at the slip. "Shut up, Hisashi. He does not have favorites." "It's okay," he said, "and he means it. I won't push whatever you're hiding unless it puts you in danger. Are you safe?" "Yes, I'm safe, but Sensei can't know. Sensei, stop. Focus, quirk. Focus. Don't think about it. Shit." He sighed, though he's reluctant to call it relief. "All right, kid. Time for class. I'll let ectoplasm know why you were late." Midoriya couldn't get away from him fast enough. Shota groaned. Problem child. Izuku all but sprinted to math with ectoplasm. He was so fucked. Someone reading his mind and hearing his intrusive thoughts was supposed to be a stupid and irrational thing his brain fixated on sometimes, only because anyone knowing about his intrusive thoughts is his biggest fear. It wasn't supposed to be a real possibility. He knew that in a world full of quirks, there was a non-zero chance of someone actually being able to read his mind. But telepathy quirks were so rare. And he already knew the quirks of everyone in his life. It wasn't supposed to be a real risk. Shit. Sensei probably thought he was insane, doing anything he could to keep his brain from thinking of Aizawa. No. Stop. He can't think about it. He won't think about it. Not when Aizawa might hear. Dread pulled in his stomach. He could only hope that this quirk doesn't last long. How the hell was he supposed to get through this? The answer, of course, was blurting out every other secret he had in rapid succession. His anxiety was growing all throughout English as the minutes ticked down before he'd have to see Aizawa again. He glanced at Izuku, and he felt the thoughts from the day prior creeping their way up. Don't think about it. Stop. Focus. Quirk. Think about the quirk. Did Sensei find the woman from yesterday? Is she okay? Did she say how long the quirk will last? What's the range? Don't think about... Stop. Quirk. Oh shit, Sensei's gonna find out about my quirk. He heard that. No shit. Izuku, shut up. Shut up. Just shut up. Don't think about it. Focus. Could Sensei even focus on the lesson with Izuku's mind going on like this? Shit. He felt bad. Sensei wasn't reacting. Maybe he was good at tuning out noise. It couldn't be easy. Fuck. Why couldn't Izuku just control his own thoughts? Don't think about it. Focus. Quirk. Shit. What if he finds out I'm quirkless? Sensei faltered, losing his train of thought. Sorry, where was I? Oh, right. So according to utilitarianism. Shit, sorry, Sensei. I mean, I'm not quirkless now, obviously. Memories of All Might, warning him his limbs might explode if he inherits One for All too early. Revulsion at the memory of swallowing down a piece of his hair. Choking on sludge. Ending up on a roof. Can someone without a quirk become a hero like you? I'm sorry. You can't be a hero. Be realistic. Red shoes, placed together neatly. Stepping onto the ledge. Class dismissed. Izuku's head shot up in horror. But Sensei, class doesn't end for another 20 minutes, Ida protested. I said, class dismissed, Aizawa growled. Get out. His classmates scurried out of the room, Izuku scrambling to go with them. Not you, Midoriya. Shit. His student was surprisingly calm considering what Shota had overheard. His thoughts were uncharacteristically silent, though he was unsure whether or not that was a good thing. So, Aizawa started. Midoriya's shoulders slumped. So, he responded. I guess I should probably explain. Yeah, that might be good. Midoriya took a deep breath. You can trust Sensei. He should know. His thoughts were surprisingly collected, and part of him wondered if Midoriya forgot he was still under the quirk. I was born quirkless, he started. There was a little flicker of uncertainty that Shota might judge him for it, but it was chased away just as fast. Sensei isn't prejudiced. I have the extra toe joint and everything. For as long as I can remember, I wanted to be a hero. Kachan and I had plans when we were kids. He would surpass All Might, become the #1 hero with me by his side, and then I was diagnosed quirkless. And all of a sudden, no one supported my dream anymore. No one believed I could do it. My mom cried and said she was sorry when I asked her if she still thought I could be a hero. Kachan turned on me. Teachers tried to sabotage me. Do you know how many high schools accept quirkless students in Musutafu? 2. And my records were completely filled with black marks that I was sure my applications would never be given a second glance. When I got into UA, my first thought was, wow, I can't believe I got into high school. It wasn't until days later that I realized not only did I get into UA, but I got into the hero course at that. But hey, I have a quirk now and All Might in my corner. That's the only reason I got in. Did I take the place of someone who actually deserves it? Would Shinzo still be fighting for a spot in our class if I hadn't taken it? Shota furrowed his brow. Midoriya, you deserve to be here as much as everyone else. You've worked hard, and you've made incredible progress. Don't doubt yourself, kid. Sensei only thinks that because I have a quirk now. Shota's gonna circle back on that one. He needed to know more about the frankly shady interactions the kids had with All Might. Can you tell me what happened with All Might? Midoriya gnawed at his lip, then nodded. Bringing up All Might seemed to fill the kid with mixed feelings. He felt disappointment and resentment come through, but gratitude and adoration as well. But mostly, he felt apprehension. I was walking home from school one day. I normally go straight home, but I was avoiding Kachan and his friends. Midoriya remembered his notebook being blown up and being told to kill himself, and Shota felt his headache coming back with a vengeance. He was going to have to look into that. Izuku shook his head, ridding himself of those memories. Anyway, I was walking through an underpass when I was attacked by the sludge villain. That should have been in Midoriya's file. He had known about Bakugo's encounter with this villain, so why hadn't he known about this? Had All Might followed any protocol? All Might saved me. I guess I passed out because I woke up to All Might giving me CPR. I had wanted to ask him something, but he was in a rush, and I know it was stupid, but I grabbed onto him while he was jumping away. Guess not, then. Seriously, a kid almost drowns in sludge, and the #1 hero can't be bothered to call a paramedic? He kept his expression carefully controlled, not wanting Midoriya to think his anger was directed at him. I asked him if somebody without a quirk could still be a hero. He said no. God, what the fuck, Yagi? He didn't need Midoriya to say what almost happened next. He'd seen it in class. Red shoes on the roof. The sidewalk, a long way down. That was a bad day, Sensei. I don't think about doing that anymore. And then I saw explosions in the distance and, I don't know, I just ran, Izuku continued. I wasn't really thinking about it, I knew that it was my fault, that the villain escaped and All Might was out of time. When I saw Kachan there, he looked scared, and I remembered feeling that scared, and no one was helping. So I did. And it was stupid. The heroes there all yelled at me, and Kachan was pissed that I got involved, but I guess All Might was impressed. He offered me his quirk, and said I could be a hero. He's the first person who ever believed in me. But only as long as he had a quirk, Shota thought bitterly. Seriously, what the fuck? Midoriya, Shota started, a bit overwhelmed with everything he's learned. You never should have been treated that way. A quirk isn't everything, and not having one. Everyone who treated you as lesser for it was wrong. I hope you know that. There was so much he had to follow up on. Shit, this poor kid. I know you didn't plan on telling me, but I'm glad you did. The kid looked away. I trust you, Sensei. He doesn't fight the small smile growing on his face. And I think you could have done it, Shota said. Done what? Become the first quirkless hero. He said it so easily and without doubt that Midoriya was too stunned to respond at first. His eyes become glassy, but he doesn't cry. He looked at Shota and smiled, looking steadier than he had for days. Thank you, Sensei. Izuku was so ecstatic and grateful after talking with Aizawa that his secret came out when he least expected it. His thoughts had calmed. There's no intrusive thought creeping up on him, no anxiety about slipping up. His thoughts don't spiral frantically, trying to snap his mind back into focus. It's a weight off of his chest, one he hadn't known he was carrying until Aizawa lifted it from him. He spent the next day feeling warm and happy, knowing that the man he saw as a father figure knew about his quirklessness and One for All, and supported him anyway. He thinks I could have done it. Been a quirkless hero. It heals something in him he hadn't known was still broken. Something he thought he'd gotten over when All Might gave him a quirk. Midoriya, stay a minute, Aizawa asked, after homeroom. There's no rush of anxiety at being asked to stay after class. No fear that he might have done something wrong or might be in trouble for something. Hi, Sensei, Izuku said. He wondered if he was imagining the fondness Aizawa seemed to feel in return. He seemed softer when he looked at Izuku. You needed something. It slipped my mind yesterday, while we were talking, Aizawa started. But I tracked down the woman from the other night. Izuku's eyes widened in interest. Oh? Her quirk, Link, is a one-way telepathic bond. It's activated through touch, and the direction of the bond depends on who is touched first. It has a range of 50 meters, and typically lasts 72 hours. So there's only 36 hours left? Aizawa nodded. Seems that way. Thank God, Izuku thought, and Aizawa chuckled in response. We'll get through this, kid, Aizawa said, laying a hand on his head and ruffling his hair, and... What if Sensei raped me? Sensei pinning him down and forcing him still, ignoring him as he cried and begged, No, stop it! Aizawa yanked his hand away, as though he'd been burned. His breath hitched as he stared at Izuku, guilt and shock written all over his face. Izuku froze. Shit, he heard that. He saw. Fuck. He panicked. He was running before he even realized it. He should have known better. He should have known this would happen, but he can't help but feel like he'd been caught completely off guard. He'd felt good. He'd felt happy and secure, and for once there was no anxiety keeping his mind trapped in a loop to fight off intrusive thoughts that were moments away from resurfacing. After everything, after coming clean about One for All and his quirklessness, after managing to keep those thoughts away for the last 24 hours, of course he'd have to ruin it. Of course he'd forget that they show up even when he's happy or calm, just to remind him how fucked up he really is. He knows. Aizawa knows. Izuku thought he might throw up. Aizawa knows, and he can't stop thinking about how he looked at Izuku, as though Izuku actually thought he might hurt him. He can't breathe. He retched. He locked himself in the bathroom and fell to his knees before the toilet, vomiting up all the contents in his stomach until there was nothing coming out but bile, and he's left heaving above the porcelain bowl. His breathing slowed, but the tears did not. He wiped his mouth and rested his forehead against his knees and hugged his legs. What was he supposed to do now? How could Izuku even face him? His thoughts weren't his own, and he needed to explain that, but he couldn't, especially not with this quirk still active. He's stuck in the loop now. It's happened once already, and he's so desperate for it to never happen again. He wouldn't be able to look at Aizawa without his mind running rampant with the worst intrusive thoughts about the man. Aizawa would never be able to look at him the same. He might not already. And fuck, that hurt so much more than he knew what to do with. He felt so guilty. Aizawa didn't deserve to have Izuku think about him that way. He'd never hurt him or rape him. No, stop fucking thinking about it. He cried into his hands. Why won't this just stop? Shota felt nauseous. He knew some kids didn't like him. He was strict. He could be scary. But he didn't think his students could be scared of him. Scared for their safety. Let alone Midoriya. He'd been so sure that he trusted him. These last few days pointed towards nothing else. And yet, the kid, his kid, had thought of being raped when he'd ruffled his hair. Thought that Shota would rape him. The thought makes him sick. He doesn't know what he's done for Izuku to misconstrue any of his actions in this way, as though his affection for the kid was anything but parental. He dragged his hands down his face. He wanted to check on him. He looked so distraught when he ran. But maybe Shota shouldn't be the one to check on him. He found his husband instead. "Hey, Eraser, you—" Hisashi's face fell when he saw his husband's expression. "What happened?" "Do you have a minute?" Shota asked. "Yeah, I'm free all afternoon." Hisashi walked towards his classroom door and shut it, anticipating that this would be a private matter. He grabbed Shota's hand for support and pulled him closer. "What happened?" he asked again. "It's Midoriya." Hisashi frowned. "Is the listener okay?" Shota looked away and inhaled sharply. "He thinks I would hurt him, Zashi," he admitted in a whisper. His eyebrows shot up in surprise. "What? You would never." Shota shut his eyes. "I wouldn't," he agreed easily. "But he thinks I would. He thinks I'd rape him." "Oh, Sho," Hisashi said sympathetically. I don't know what I did," he muttered. "It's this damn quirk, Zashi. I thought everything was okay. I patted his hair, and his thoughts were flooded with me forcing myself on him. And shit." Hisashi squeezed his hand. He looked at his husband. "You know I'd never touch him, right? You know I'd never hurt any of my kids." He felt ridiculous asking his husband this, as though there was even a chance he might think otherwise. But he just needed to hear it. Hisashi cupped Shota's cheek and caressed his skin with his thumb. "I know, Shota. I believe you. I know you'd rather die before laying a hand on them." Shota leaned into the touch. Hisashi sighed. "If I'm being honest, I don't think it's anything you did." Shota frowned. "What do you mean?" "I've seen you with your kids, Shota," Hisashi started. "I know you care about them, but you've never crossed any boundaries or acted inappropriately with them. I think it's more likely that the listener has been hurt that way in the past and hasn't dealt with that trauma." "That doesn't make me feel better," Shota muttered. "Yeah," Hisashi sighed. "Me either." Shota hugged his husband and sagged in his arms. "Could you go check on him? He ran off and I'm worried, Zashi." "Of course I will." Maybe an hour after locking himself in the bathroom stall, he heard the door open. "Midoriya?" Yamada-sensei asked. "You in here, listener?" Izuku wiped his tears and nodded. Yeah, Sensei. I'm not feeling well." "Do you need anything in there?" Sensei asked. "Should I go get Recovery Girl?" No, I'm fine." He trailed off. Did Aizawa-sensei ask you to check on me?" "He did." Ah, shit. That just makes him feel worse. I know he wouldn't hurt me," Izuku told him. What he saw, I know he would never. My brain is just broken sometimes, and He groaned in frustration. "I can't see him. Not until this quirk wears off." Izuku took a shaky breath. "Please?" Yamada-sensei hovered for a moment, thinking it over. "Okay, I'll let him know." He didn't say anything more, but he didn't leave either. Izuku swallowed. "I'm okay, Sensei, I promise. I just need to be alone for a minute." "All right, listener," Yamada finally responded. "You have my number. If you need anything, call or text me. You dig?" "I dig." The quirk disappeared after 72 hours, and Izuku found himself knocking at Aizawa's door, like he had done 3 days prior. Midoriya, Aizawa answered with a hint of surprise. Izuku had been excused from class until the quirk wore off, and so he hadn't seen Aizawa since he'd run the other day. "Hi, Sensei," Izuku greeted back. "Can I come in?" Aizawa looked unsure. He seemed to contemplate it for a moment, and then stepped aside. He led Izuku to his kitchen table and started the kettle. "This is—" He gnawed at his lip uncertainly, eyes locked in on his steaming cup of jasmine tea. "It's hard for me to talk about." Aizawa didn't interrupt, and just waited for when Izuku was ready to continue. I don't think you'd ever hurt me, Sensei," he muttered. "Especially not that way." He fiddled with the spoon in his cup. It's just, I think my mind is broken, Sensei." His voice cracked on the admission. He couldn't bring himself to look up. "What do you mean by that?" Aizawa asked gently. I get these thoughts that I can't control or get rid of." He clenched his hand around his mug, not enough to break it, but enough for the heat of it to burn his skin. His voice trembled as he spoke, wavering on every word. "I hate them." Aizawa grabbed his wrist tentatively to remove his hand from his mug, and stopped touching him the moment he let go, careful not to linger. His skin is tinged an angry red. "Midoriya, you'll hurt yourself." Izuku could practically hear the frown in his voice. Sorry." The conversation stalled. Izuku doesn't know how to continue. Each word feels like a struggle to get out. Talking about it went against every instinct he'd garnered from the time he was 5. Intrusive thoughts were not something he talked about, not if he didn't want people to hate him for it. "Midoriya, what I saw, do you think about that often?" Izuku shrugged. Aizawa's face fell. "I know you wouldn't, Sensei. I trust you, I do." He felt the tightness in his chest growing steadily. You're the closest thing I have to a dad, but my mind is so sick that it thinks of you hurting me, and I hate it. Because I don't want you to, and I know you don't want to, and you wouldn't, and I really hope you believe me when I say that I know that. These thoughts are irrational, and I don't believe any of them, but they won't leave me alone. Fuck, when did he start hyperventilating? Midoriya. Izuku, breathe with me. Through his ragged breaths, he notices how Aizawa keeps his distance. It only makes things worse. I'm sorry, he wheezed, his head spinning. You're scared to touch me now. It seemed to spur him closer, a firm hand on his back as Aizawa guides his breathing until it matches his. There you go, kid. You're okay. Sorry, he muttered. Aizawa shook his head. There's nothing to be sorry for, Aizawa responded, still rubbing a hand against his back to keep him grounded. That was a lot. Maybe we should finish this another time. No, he responds in turn. I need to get this out now. I've never talked about this before. If I don't say it now, I never will. Okay, kid. I'll listen. He mulled the words over in his head until he knew where to start. I think I don't trust the good things in my life. I trust you, and I trust my friends and my mom, but I don't feel like I deserve them. I don't know. I think these intrusive thoughts are a result of that. I don't think you would hurt me, but apart from my mom, I've never really had an adult I've trusted before you. My dad left when I was diagnosed, and all of my teachers had treated me horribly for it. So now that there's someone I do trust who cares about me, my mind basically goes, hey, wouldn't it be fucked up if they raped you? Izuku laughed, bitter and sardonic. Aizawa inhaled sharply at the casual way he phrased that last thought, but still didn't interrupt. It's easier to talk now that he started. He felt so detached from the words, but they flowed from him in a way that he hadn't thought possible. When I have intrusive thoughts about hurting my friends, it's usually when they're being nice, or I realize I'm lucky to have them, or after they say I'm nice or a good person or something, as though to prove them wrong. It scares me because the thought of hurting them makes me feel so sick and guilty, and I know I would never act on them. But the thought that I could and that I'd lose everything I've ever wanted in just a few seconds, it makes it all feel so fragile. And if I can't control my thoughts, what if I can't control my actions either? I feel like I'm lying to them. These thoughts are so violent, and I know that intrusive thoughts aren't a representation of what I really want, but they're so persistent that it has me doubting myself. I'm terrified that I'm wrong, and one day I'm going to act on them and hurt someone, even if I never want to. I feel like I have no control. I feel so guilty all the time, and I don't know what to do about it because I haven't done anything. I haven't ever wanted to either, but the harder I try to push them away, the more intrusive thoughts I have. I just want them gone, Sensei. He felt drained. This conversation had sucked everything out of him, but he still feels overwhelming relief when Aizawa opens his arms in an offer. He swallowed hard and accepted it easily, hugging him tightly. Thank you for telling me, Aizawa told him, and Izuku nodded into his chest in response. When Izuku pulled away, he continued, I'm going to set up counseling sessions for you with Hound Dog. Izuku blinked. What? It's not a bad thing. Your intrusive thoughts sound like they could be caused by OCD. I'm not a professional, so I couldn't say for sure. But regardless of the cause, he can help you manage them in a healthy way, Aizawa explained. Do you think I'm a bad person? No, kid. Intrusive thoughts aren't your subconscious desires, and logically, you know that. But it can be hard to remember when your mind is telling you otherwise. You've said it yourself. You've never wanted to act on any of them, so they should hardly determine whether or not you're a good person. Look at your actions instead. You're kind to your friends. You care for others and take the time to help them whenever you can, sometimes to a fault. Tell me, why do you want to be a hero? Izuku's brow furrowed at the question, but he answered regardless. I want to help people who need it. You've said once that a lot of the people we save will be having the worst days of their lives. When I think about the worst day of my life, if I can just make it a little better for someone else. He trailed off. Aizawa smiled. Does that sound like something a bad person would say? Izuku flushed red. But wouldn't anyone who wants to be a hero agree? Aizawa shook his head. Many are in it for the money or fame. They forget that the whole industry was built on helping people. Oh, Izuku muttered, unsure of what else to say. I'm sorry you've been going through a rough time alone, Aizawa told him. You can always talk to me, but I'm not a professional. There's only so much I can do. I'd like you to try a few sessions with Hound Dog, and we'll see how it goes. Sound okay, problem child? Izuku smiled. Yes, thank you, Sensei. Aizawa smiled back. Good. Izuku had secrets, but everyone did. He was careful with what secrets he entrusted to others. There was a time that he'd rather die than reveal one of his secrets. a part of himself he saw as irredeemable and something to be locked away. It's not something he's proud of, but he's no longer ashamed of it either. His intrusive thoughts just are. They are a part of him, something he manages, like the chronic pain in his joints. He might never be rid of it, but he's accepted them for what they are, and deals with them the way he's been taught. Some days are harder than others, but he knows there are people he can rely on. He doesn't carry any of it alone. All right, listeners, this concludes the one-shot entitled Intrusive Thoughts. I'd love to hear your reactions to this one. Again, this fic is located over on AO3, so if you have an opportunity to slide over and support the original author, I'm sure it would be much appreciated. I don't feel like it's gotten enough recognition yet and would really like to see that kind of support. In the comments below, I'd love to hear your reactions, though, and what you thought about maybe how Aizawa handled the situation, the ways in which the character development took place. I love the fact that in this particular fanfic, we see emotions from Aizawa in a sense where, you see his reactions after Izuku's intrusive thoughts come to light and how he goes and has to seek out support from that. But you also see some really great elements of mental health, the fact that Hound Dog is going to be utilized as a support in counseling. This isn't just talked about and then let go. Izuku is getting that help that he particularly needs to be able to manage these intrusive thoughts later on. So again, I'm going to keep asking you to, but drop your comments below so I can hear what you thought, see your reactions to the fic overall. And of course, as always, thank you all so much for listening.